authority to be and to do. God is telling us, I have ordained for you to be who I created you to be. We may have to ask permission to do a whole lot of other things. But one thing we do not have to ask permission for is to be me. I don't have to get nobody's permission to be raw. I can be raw all day long, 24/7. Same with each of you. You need no one approval. No one has to stamp you to be who God called for you to be. Because you are who God created you to be. And so when we are ordained to do something, that means God has empowered you to do it. When you empower someone to do something, you give them all rights and privileges to be who you say they are. Now, an analogy. If we were to go out here on this road, stand in the middle of the street, and put our hands up like this, what are the likelihood those cars are going to obey us? But what if we put on a uniform with the badge and got a blue light flashing behind us and we do this? What are the likelihood they will stop? They're going to stop. Why? Because that police officer, not just because he's a police officer, but why? He has the authority. He has been ordained to stop traffic. See, when you walk in what you are ordained to do, the world will obey you. The reason why things are not working out for us oftentimes in our lives, it is because we don't have the power and the authority because we're trying to be somebody else. Start being you and watch yourself regain control over your life. Start being the person that God has created for you to be and watch things just start beginning to line up. And so that's what God is trying to tell us. That's what he's teaching us. And that's the premise of what this book is all about, is to help motivate us and to move us in the direction that God has created, that God has ordained for us to be and to walk in. Any questions at this point? Or comments? No? So y'all got it all, right? I'm sorry. Oh, that was it. Okay.
Pastor, when you were writing this book, did you have X amount of pages you did per day, or did you have, okay?
No, that's a very great question. When I was writing the book, what I was doing was I was motivating myself to do something every day. And in fact, the challenge of it came out of, as we mentioned earlier, for 9 weeks this was taught within our church. And I was ministering this each week. We got to a point that where the entire congregation had to identify an ordained thing. We went through the process of identifying why God created us. We went through an exercise to help point us in that direction. Then all of us, the entire church, wrote down, something that either they were going to do that they've never done, that they've always wanted to do. Some individuals even had on there, I want to read my first book. I've never written a book before from front to cover. That's my goal. And so they wrote that down. Others said, I want to be able to run a 5K. Never ran a 5K before. I want to write it down. And others said, I want to begin working towards why God created me. I want to be an artist. I want to work on those gifts. And so what we challenged everyone to do was every day spend some time working on that one thing, no matter what it is. And so what I would do is each day I would come and work and spend some time writing this book. Some days it might be 2 or 3 pages. Other days it may have been only 2 or 3 sentences. I'm tired. I remember one day coming home, had a couple appointments and meetings. I'm not getting home till like 12:30 at night. I am extremely tired and exhausted. I go in the office, I pull up the computer, and I just start typing. Because I committed every day I'm going to do something on it. And so when you start doing a little bit every day, that little bit turns into a lot. And that's what happens oftentimes with a lot of people is that we look at ourselves from where we are. And then we compare it to where we want to be. And the distance is great. And that is enough to talk us out of even trying. But if you start and just take that first step and commit, every day I'm going to do something. Even if it's just doing some research. Now, I want to work with children. Let me go and research on what's necessary. What all do I need? And do a little bit every day. And if you continuously do that over a period of 6, 7, 8, 9 months, you'll look back and say, wow, look at the ground I have covered. So you've heard the old adage before, the best way to tackle a large problem is to break it up into small steps. Any other question? That was a great one. Yes.
What challenges that you experienced when trying to write your book that you can share with some others that may want to write some books?
Okay. Some of the challenges that I ran into was one. It was time. Time was a challenge for me because you're talking about being married, 4 children, working a full-time job, doing ministry. That was a challenge, and so, but again, if you know what the goal is, you're still going to make the appropriate steps, as I said earlier, to do a little bit every single time. The other challenge that I ran into was the ability to find a publisher, to publish the book, and someone that you could find that could do it at a good price for you. But praise God, that worked out through much research. And then someone actually referred me to the company that actually ended up publishing the book for me. So